I am the senior member of the United Nations Military Armistice Commission. As the senior member, one of my duties is a supervisory role for the JSA battalion. And I try to fulfill that by coming to the battalion at least once a month to look at the troops and also to keep in contact with the neutral nations supervisory committee members here. Because they are truly in front of them all. The JSA has a long tradition which started with the United States. They've kept the peace for the past 63 years, and they are a symbol for the professionalism and military camaraderie that represents all military men in uniform. The Korean troops and American troops who are stationed here at the Joint Security Area, I think represent the best of our both countries. And I think, we owe them the highest respects from that regard. The Joint Security Area provides security for this area. They conduct tours which remind people of the importance of freedom and that freedom is not free. Now, they do this 365 days a year, 24 hours a day. It's not a very glorious job, and it's a very dangerous job as well. So these men and women are conducting a mission that is truly important and has great symbolism. Well, the biggest effect is that it stopped the firing that was going on and the killing that was going on. Unfortunately, it is a ceasefire. It's not a permanent treaty or an agreement to cease hostilities or war. Now, you would think that it would have been temporary, but it lasted for the past 60 years. It saved a great many lives and ceased the war that the North Koreans had started. Today we see prosperity in the southern part of the Korean Peninsula, and it all started with the Armistice Agreement and the ceasefire. So I think that's where the greatest importance of this agreement lies. I think that's a little difficult to say, to imagine what this country or this region would have been like without an armistice agreement. The war lasted for 3 years. Without this armistice agreement, let's say it would have lasted 10 years, which we can see happening in Afghanistan and Iraq today. Instead of the glittering cities of Seoul and the happy smiles of the Korean citizens here, maybe we would still be in despair and hopelessness that we can find in many places in the world. So I think that, this agreement, this ceasefire, was the start of a prosperous beginning, not only for the Korean people, but for the Northeast Asian region, and hopefully for the world. The most significant is that up until, I think, 15 years ago, this was a US-led unit. Although now it is still a US-led unit, predominant work is done by Korean troops. And we have selected the best of our young people to represent us here. And with American leadership and friendship, we are able to uphold the traditions of both military organizations. I think this has shown that with good American leadership and good Korean workmanship, that we can truly work together. Now we're at a stage where Koreans will be in the lead in many respects. And I think this is partly because we've proven that this kind of relationship works for us. I tell them the truth. I tell them that they are important. I tell them that I know how hard it is for them to do their job. Not only is it dangerous, it's monotonous, and it's very easy to fall into a mannerism where you forget how dangerous the situation is. So I try to remind them that they are important, they need to keep safe, they need to train, they need to be vigilant. And they're doing this for their families and the peace of this country as well as Northeast Asia. I think that message is sent out by keeping our cool. The North Koreans want to destabilize the peace that we have on the Korean Peninsula. They do this by scare tactics, by intimidation. Now, by maintaining stability, by maintaining our confidence in ourselves, we are able to show North Korea that intimidation will not work. And at the same time, we can show the world that Korea is much more stable than you would think. I was quite surprised that recent events put a lot of scare into the world about the Korean situation. And it doesn't need to be. We are capable and we are ready to handle these kind of tensions on the Korean Peninsula. Of course, we need your help, but we can manage this. I am happy you asked that question. I'm not going to use big words or become emotional, but I would just like to say thank you. I would like to thank all the United Nations countries that came to Korea to defend us against communist aggression, but especially to Americans for sending their fathers, their uncles, their sons. I cannot express how grateful people like myself and many, many other Koreans are for the sacrifices that you have provided us. But on another note, look what it has done for us. Look what it has done for you. If you come to Korea, if you see Seoul, you see a city that is free and is full of hope and dynamic. And I just want to say to America that every smile that you see in Korea is because of what you did for us 63 years ago and what you have been doing for us for the past 63 years in supporting us, in being patient with us, and in having understanding towards the Republic of Korea. So, thank you.